Hello and welcome back. I'm John Stark from MacTheMovieGuy.com, and this is another one of my best of 2022 lists. This is definitely going to go into February based on the fact that I still have to finish out the film categories. I'm finishing out the TV categories. It gives me just little bit more time to see a couple more of the stragglers that are in limited release or not available on VOD, or waiting until February 1st for Black Panther Wakanda Forever to hit Disney Plus. In the meantime, I get to talk about some really great performances. So, we're moving into the lead categories. I've done all of the supportings across all of my different genres. So, we are back around to Best Actress in a Comedy Series. And this was a really tough category. I mean, I found myself cutting performances I really loved and performances I can't ever do anything with again. Like when I had to cut Kat Dennings and I couldn't find a place for her in the top 10, I realized that was the last time I was ever going to be able to give her any sort of nod for Dollface or Natasha Demetrio for What We Do in the Shadows. Just a bunch of performances. So down the line. So who did make the cut? Let's see. Coming in at number 10, Selena Gomez for Only Murders in the Building. I wanted to make sure Selena made the list because I've always thought it's kind of unfair for her to be. It's impossible for her to ever not be dwarfed by Steve Martin and Martin Short. It'd be impossible for almost anyone in this series to be. You could have cast anybody in this role, and putting Steve Martin and Martin Short in the same series together is going to create a certain kind of magic that automatically draws the attention to them. But Selena has been doing really good work that often goes critically undervalued, and in the second season I love how the writers really let her character breathe a little bit more. They gave her more of a focus, more of a point. She was less like the third wheel and more like the focal point of a lot of it. And they became sort of her supporters instead of she supporting them. And that dynamic changed and shifted and gave her a lot more material to work with. And I needed to make sure Selena got on the list because she so frequently is just swept under the rug, and then people are like, oh, Steve Martin and Martin Short, and it's like, there are 3 leads in this show. I'm sorry. I mean, you can do whatever you want with the supporting cast. I gave it an ensemble. It was on my list of ensembles. Didn't win, but it was on the list. But Selena deserves to be on this top 10 list. So that one was pretty easy for me. Number 9 was another Sophie's Choice moment for me because my list did not have room for both actresses from this show. But I went with Christina Applegate for Dead to Me, for the final season of Dead to Me. I think, I just think over the course of the show and even into the final season, Christina is just the better character. There's something a little bit, and Linda does a good job with it. There's just something a little about Linda's character that you never quite fully relate to her, or quite understand her perspective, whereas Christina's perspective you can always sort of follow and understand. And I think that relatability is just what gave her the edge here. No, I didn't put her on the list for the reason many think she's appearing on many lists, and that's rude, because she's a fantastic talent, and I hope she does continue acting. So I hope this is not the last thing Christina Applegate does. I would love to see her in more things, however long she feels comfortable acting. I'm heartbroken, I'm sure, but I understand. Sometimes life throws you a curveball, so you just do with it what you can. But Christina Applegate absolutely deserves this recognition on the list. So, coming up number 8 on the list is Rose Byrne for Physical. This is a show I'm not really actually a fan of, but pretty much every time I had to talk about it in the roundup, I always talked about how I liked Rose Byrne's performance. I just didn't like the show or the ensemble around her. I mean, the show is fine. It's kind of the ensemble. It's not quite written well. There's something about Physical that just doesn't connect me as a show. Sometimes when they focus on the right thing in the right moments, they pull some really great things together for Rose Byrne. And they did that this season. I felt like her character had some moments that were truly great, where she's struggling with her inner monologue, struggling with what to do, and it's a darkly comedic performance. This comes from Apple Plus. I should have done the other two. Also, I meant to start saying where these are, just in case people don't know. Dead to Me is on Netflix, and Only Murders in the Building is on Hulu. All three shows have audio description. So, by the way, but Rose is better than the show that she's on. I'm just gonna say that. Not necessarily a huge endorsement for you to watch Physical, but it depends on what you look for in a show. Rose's performance is worth watching, and it's why I watch Physical. I'm not a huge fan of the show. I don't really like the supporting cast, but she keeps me coming back. I came back for a second season because she was great in the first season, and I sat through a second season where I was like, this is all right. But sometimes the writers get, when they hone in on Rose and the two of them click together, the storylines are great. But then they have these extraneous supporting cast members that I can give two shits about. So they really have to fix some stuff in that show. Anyway, Rose Byrne's fantastic, so she made my list. Coming up, number 7 on my list is another Apple Plus show. This is Maya Rudolph from Loot. This show also has audio description, and you can check out her performance. Maya came in this year and played somebody who she was married to the richest man on the planet and divorced him, and then suddenly she became stupid rich herself, and had all this money and everything to do, but nothing to do with her time. And she wanted to sort of break out on her own, so she starts working with this charity that she has that was run by a character played by MJ Rodriguez. And it's the kind of performance that Maya would deliver. It's kind of perfect for her. It's just silly enough, but it's also just dramatic enough. I think about some of the moments where she had to sort of like reflect on her past life, and I think about how Maya has been able to prove her dramatic weight in films like Away We Go, but also just the silliness of like that the Hot Ones segment episode that she did. That was pretty great. It with it, like show within the show, type thing. So anyway, watch Loot. It's a good show. It got picked up for a second season on Apple Plus, so it'll come back, at least for one more. Hopefully more than that. Coming up, number 6 on my list is Judy Greer from Reboot. I just loved this show. I think a lot of people did when this dropped. I'm so happy that Hulu stuck with it. Judy is fantastic, playing the actress whose trajectory is sort of similar to, like, I guess Grace Kelly's in a weird way. When you think about the fact that she plays an actress who supposedly went and married like a prince or a king of some faraway tiny country and went and lived there and was their queen, and then finally divorced him. And every time she talks about the weird cultures of the country that she came from, it's very interesting, and she's obviously it's the perfect Judy Greer character. This is a really well cast role. Somebody read this role and was like, I could only see one person playing this, and it was Judy Greer. And I thought Great casting. Judy does a great job with it. So, and I can't wait to see a second season of Reboot. So, moving up the list. Now, obviously, you could have said, looking at the fact that I gave ensemble to this show and supporting actress to this show, that the odds were in the favor of my number 5. Unfortunately, she is my number 5, and that's Quinta Brunson from Abbott Elementary, which airs on ABC but also airs on Hulu and has audio description for most episodes that I've found. So, yeah, I mean, this is Quinta's first year, and the show premiered last year, so she made number 5 on my list. It's like a debut. She debuted at number 5. It's not bad. And I think she's great. I think this is one of those shows, and her playing the straight performance, sort of, her and Tyler James Williams are always going to be the Jim and Pam, sort of, the little bit more straight characters, I guess you could say. I know Quinta's a little, whatever, a little more Leslie Knope than Pam, but she's not quite to the extreme. But when you walk around and you have Ava walking through the hallways, it becomes pretty clear that somebody's attracting a lot of attention and a lot of humor and a lot of the quick-witted lines. And Quinta has all the heart, and that's what I love about her character. So I'm sure you're already watching Abbott Elementary, but if you aren't, why? Have you at least checked it out? I mean, like, everybody on the planet is trying to tell you to watch Abbott Elementary. People don't even watch network TV anymore, and they watch Abbott Elementary. So, coming in at number 4. This is where it gets tough for me, because any one of these ladies could have easily won and deserved to win. Could have deserved to win easily. But I put Rachel Brosnahan from The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, which airs on Amazon with audio description, at number 4. Rachel and Maisel this year, it's a great performance. It's always been a great performance. It's just kind of a steady performance for me. It's just, we keep seeing her do the same thing as Midge. And I think that's probably why I went with a little bit more of the dynamic performances. I felt like the other ladies either debuted or changed with stronger roles this year. But I think Rachel is always great in this role. I can't wait to see what else she does after this. I have no idea. If she's not Maisel, what is she? It's so weird, because this was her breakout performance, and they've got one season left, and I don't know what Rachel Brosnahan's career looks like after this. So it's very odd, but we'll see. Coming in at number 3, I've got Sarah Lancashire from Julia, which airs on HBO Max with audio description. I just thought she was lovely. I'd actually already seen Sarah, and she really stuck out in my memory because I actually really liked Amazon's Everybody's Talking About Jamie movie, and she played Jamie's mother on that, and I hadn't really been familiarized with Sarah Lancashire on a I need to remember this name type basis, where I see a role and I think somebody's great, and I look up who's playing it, and I look at the name and I go, oh, this is a name I need to remember. And then after that, lo and behold, she pops up as Julia Child, and I just thought her performance was lovely. It was a great performance. It's funny, it's quirky, and it's a good impersonation. And I wish it was recognized more. This is a show that I feel like critics like, but somehow every time we get around to awards, they just kind of forget that Julia happened, because it happened in the spring. So, I don't know. A weird show. Weird that it's been shelved, but I didn't forget it, because I make a list, and I check it twice. And then I form my top 10 from the list of performances that I like throughout the year. So, Sarah Lancashire came in at number 3. This is where it gets tough. My honorable mention. I have a deep feeling, especially now that they have a new show that just debuted yesterday, that might have been the final season, and I don't know how I feel about that, but it was one hell of a final season. If it was, if that's doing the Fleabag thing and doing a 2 and done, then I don't know. That was a bizarre trip, and we all went on it together. But my pick is Natasha Lyonne from Russian Doll, which airs on Netflix with audio description. Natasha has been working in the business for so long, and yeah, this is her character. I mean, I don't know that she really stretched herself so much, but she's crafted this very specific type for herself, and it made it very, I think that's what really strengthened the performance. Was it's exactly the kind of thing that Natasha does, and does very well. And it was the writers that helped shape this creative world around her, where she's constantly shifting through time and reliving a day, and she's holding herself as a baby. I mean, season 2 was nuts. If you only watched season 1 of Russian Doll, season 2 just is it's incredible. And she has some really deep moments. It's funny that you end up giving props to actresses in a comedy series, not just because they're funny, but also because the show throws them a curveball and suddenly they have to do something serious and dramatic within the context of their show. So a lot of these shows show an extreme amount of range for these actresses. It's great because, a drama series will just stay dramatic. And it's great. Something like Elizabeth Moss on The Handmaid's Tale is just, she's laser focused on being dramatic. She never has to balance being funny. So, but somebody like Natasha Lyonne has to balance being funny and then also handed some really heavy moments dealing with grief and loss and existential crises, like really holding herself as having herself in her own arms. Anyway, so she's my runner-up. So who won? Yeah, unpredictable. Predictable as shit. I'm sorry. But I do agree with everybody else. My winner is Jean Smart from Max, which airs on HBO Max with audio description. I don't know, we're in some sort of weird Jean Smart renaissance. I don't know, where she came back all of a sudden and people just gave her all the right roles, with Watchmen and this, and she was just in Babylon, and I don't know. I don't care. She's great. She's fantastic. She's in everything she's been in the last couple of years. It's just been this amazing experience to see her right back on top, like skyrocketing to the top. And she's getting all the praise and the love for a long career in Hollywood, and that's great. I don't mind it at all. I don't mind putting her at the top. I'd put her at the top whether critics were putting her at the top or not. I think she gave the best performance this year. I think she gave the best performance for season 1. So I think, this is a recurring thing where her role of Deborah Vance is just the thing. It's just her role. She meets all of the little things. You can tell when she gets stung, but she doesn't want anybody to know. You can tell when, when she fights back. The whole thing with her suing Ava and going through the legal proceeding, but also having Ava riding her around on the bus was just ridiculous nonsense. But then you saw her with general human concern when Ava couldn't follow her, find her father's ashes. God, that was so hard to say. Find her father's ashes. And she kind of temporarily dropped the cold shoulder and did the right thing and helped Ava find her father's ashes, and made sure that happened. So, yeah, it's a great performance, lovely show, and Hannah Einbinder was my runner-up for supporting actress. So yes, I'm a fan of Hacks. Um, anyway, so that's my top 10 list for Best Actress in a Comedy Series. That means, just recapping comedy so far, ensemble was Abbott Elementary, supporting actress was Janelle James from Abbott Elementary, supporting actor was Brian Tyree Henry from Atlanta, and actress was Jean Smart from Hacks. Who will win the Best Actor tomorrow as I do Best Actor in a Comedy? That's why you subscribe, is to find out, if you care. If you don't, I hope you enjoy your breakfast. I don't know what to say. But thanks for subscribing, thanks for tuning in, and let other people know, and we'll just keep on keeping on this lovely journey of ours. And I will see you on the other side.